Once, in the heart of a kingdom's most magnificent royal garden, two trees grew side by side. The garden was a place of impossible beauty, where the grass felt like velvet and the flowers bloomed in colors the world had forgotten. On the left stood the silver birch. It was a masterpiece of elegance, tall, slender, and white as a mountain ghost. Its trunk grew straight as an arrow, reaching for the heavens without a single flaw. Its leaves were like tiny silver coins that shimmered and danced whenever the sun touched them. Beside it stood the gnarled oak. The oak was short and heavy. Its bark was dark, rough, and scarred. Its trunk was twisted into strange, uncomfortable knots, and its branches didn't reach elegantly for the sky. Instead, they grew wide and crooked, zigzagging in every direction like a tangled web. Compared to the birch, the oak looked like a messy mistake in a perfect landscape. The silver birch was deeply proud of its beauty. Every morning, as the dew sparkled on its leaves, it would look down at the oak with a cold, haughty gaze. "Look at me, oak," the birch would rustle. "I am the ornament of this kingdom. Princes and poets walk beneath me to find inspiration. I am straight, I am white, and I am perfect. But you are a disaster of wood. Your branches are a tangled mess. You are a blemish on this beautiful garden. I truly wonder why the gardener doesn't simply cut you down to make room for more trees like me." The gnarled oak said nothing. It felt the weight of the birch's words like heavy stones in its roots. It tried to stand straighter, to pull its branches in, but its nature was to be wide and sturdy. It hung its heavy limbs in shame, believing it was indeed a failure. It felt useless in a world that only seemed to value what was straight and shining.
Years passed, and the trees grew in their different ways, one in pride and one in shame. Then a summer came, unlike any other. A terrible, relentless heatwave gripped the land. The clouds vanished, and the sun became a merciless king of fire. For weeks it burned with a fierce, blinding heat that turned the velvet grass into dry straw. The silver birch, though beautiful, was delicate. Its thin, white bark offered no protection from the scorching heat. Its slender frame could not hold enough water to sustain itself, and its tiny, shimmering leaves began to turn brown and curl into dust. Because the birch was so narrow and straight, it could not protect the delicate flowers growing at its base. One by one, the lilies and roses wilted and died in the sun. The birch began to droop, its elegance fading into a dry, fragile skeleton. Its perfection had made it brittle. But the gnarled oak was built for the struggle. Its thick, rough bark acted like armor against the heat. And its ugly, wide branches? They were now the garden's only hope. Because they grew so far and so crookedly, they cast a massive, deep purple shadow that stretched across the earth like a cooling hand. The oak reached out as far as it could, embracing the garden in its shade. Beneath the oak's gnarled limbs, the temperature dropped. A small blue pond hidden among its roots remained cool and fresh, saved from evaporation by the oak's canopy. Dozens of forest birds, panting from the heat, flew into the oak's thick, knotted branches for safety. Rabbits, squirrels, and small foxes gathered in its deep shade to survive the long afternoons. The very twists and bends that the birch had mocked were now providing the widest, strongest roof of protection in the entire kingdom. One evening, as the sun finally began to dip below the horizon, the royal gardener arrived. He carried a single bucket of water, but he didn't go to the beautiful birch first. He walked straight to the gnarled oak. He knelt at the base of the twisted trunk and patted the rough, dark bark with tears of gratitude in his eyes. "Thank you, old friend," the gardener whispered. You may not be the straightest tree in the forest, but without your gnarled shape and your wide reach, the life in this garden would have perished today. You are not an ornament. You are a sanctuary. Your flaws are your greatest strength. The silver birch looked on in the fading light, its brown leaves trembling. It saw the animals resting in the shade. It saw the pond kept cool by the oak's twisted reach. It understood then that beauty is for the eyes, but purpose is for the soul. It realized that being perfect meant nothing if you couldn't help the world survive the storm.
If we look deeply into our own lives, we often feel like that gnarled oak. We look at the silver birches on our screens, the people who seem to have straight paths, perfect lives, and flawless faces. We feel ashamed of our own twists, our scars, and the messy, crooked ways our lives have grown. But remember this: perfection is often fragile. It is the gnarled parts of your character, the struggles you have survived, and the bends in your journey that give you the strength to cast a shadow for others. What the world calls a flaw is often the very thing that allows you to provide shelter, wisdom, and resilience to the people around you. You were not meant to be a straight, thin beam in someone else's house. You were meant to be a sanctuary for the world. Do not apologize for being gnarled. Do not be ashamed of being bent. Embrace your imperfections, for they are what make you useful. They are what make you strong. They are what make you, you.